unedited. You already know what it is. You already know what it is. Live, uncut, unedited. You already know what it is. Live, uncut. This is where we tell the truth. And what? And shame the devil. What's going on, everybody? We got a wonderful show tonight. We got a wonderful show tonight. Make sure you show me some love. You can send me some stars tonight. That'd be great. If you don't, it's still great. Great, 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 great. Thank you so much for tuning in, people. This is live, uncut, unedited. We got a great show tonight. We got a special guest tonight that's going to come in and show us some love. I tell you, people, we want to be on time at 9 o'clock. We're expecting his call. We got Brandon Johnson, the mayoral candidate, is going to be calling in. And tonight we're going to be talking about crime. And as of right now, we're not taking any calls right now. You can use the message box, and I'm going to read off some of them to you. So, all right, I see my partner. What's going on? Good evening. I see you. Ms. Pendleton, I see you. So, people, this is live uncut. Make sure you share the video, people. Share the video. And we're going to have them about a half an hour. We don't need to drill them that long, but we want to know what's going on and what is his plans about dealing with the violence here in Chicago. And we want to know if he will be able to make Chicago a safer place to live. And that's my concern right now. We're not concerned about other things, but we're concerned about crime. I see you, Chad. I see you live uncut. I see you, Chad. Appreciate you tuning in. And I want to introduce him to my Facebook family. So I appreciate you people coming on in. We're definitely going to talk tonight. And Renita McDonald, how you doing? I see you. This is live, uncut, unedited. All right, people. We're waiting for him to call on in. Once he calls on in, we can get it going on. All right. No callers now. We're not accepting no callers but Brandon right now. So we just letting y'all know. This is live, uncut, unedited. Y'all calling in already, but listen. I'm telling y'all, people, I'm not accepting no calls right now. But Brandon, that's the only call that I'm looking for. And so if you're not Brandon Johnson, you can hang up. Simple as that. That we waiting on him to call. Hey, this is live, uncut, unedited. I tell you, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Andrew Williams, I see you. All right. Caller 7472. Who are you? Hello, caller. All right. I'm not. If you're not Brandon Johnson, hello, caller. If you're not Brandon Johnson, you can hang up. We're not going to accept no calls tonight until after he's gone. All right. It's live, uncut, unedited, people. Live, uncut, unedited.
Yeah, we have Brandon here.
Oh, there's Brandon. Okay. Brandon, that's you? Hello?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, brother? You on time? All right. I just had to make sure it's you because I'm not taking no callers, other callers. So I want to have you to myself, man, right now. So you're doing great, huh?
That works.
Yeah. So
I am. I'm holding up.
Okay. I've been hearing things about you, great things. So I'm glad you're able to come on my platform and introduce you to my people, and you might win some votes on here. You never know. Hey, you never know. So
yeah, that's the goal.
That's the goal. That's the goal. And I'm going to keep you for half an hour. I don't need you a long time. I think I got about 5 or 6 questions. They're not pretty difficult. And I just want you to answer them to the best of your ability. And my number one concern, this is for me. This is my question, Brandon. Now, as you know, that Lori Lightfoot, she's no longer allowing us to tune in the scanner with the police scanners, the codes until like a half an hour later. So I'm asking you, what are your thoughts about that? I think that's very important to the everyday citizens that we want to know if give you an example. This is my thought on that. Just let you know where I'm coming from. If I'm in, even though I'm the crime chaser, if I'm in the area and I follow the crime on my cell phone, whether it be a scanner and things like that, realize scanners are legal unless you're using them for crime. Now, if you use them for crime, they're illegal. Now, to commit a crime, I'm sorry. So we'd like to know what's going on in our community. With so much crime is going on, traffic jams and stuff like that. And that's another source of where we can know what's going on in our community. So I'm asking you, as a mayoral candidate, if you become mayor, would you consider rolling that back? That's my first question to you.
No. In fact, I think that, residents of the city of Chicago should have access to the scanner. And, we need to make sure that we are engaging our community as much as possible because, in order for us to have the type of public safety dynamic that doesn't just simply rely upon the same old failed policies of old that have left our communities behind and left our communities less safe. We can't restrict, technology or other forms that will provide and give the community, the ability to offer direction, support, accountability. All of these different dynamics are important. And, as mayor of the city of Chicago, I'm not going to do harm to the community that prevents us from being able to engage in a way that allows for, again, optimal opportunities for us to keep a safe, thriving, strong community.
Great. I like that. So are you going to keep it the same, or because see, we can still hear it like 30 minutes later. It's just like we want it in real time, so we'll know what's going on. I'm gonna give you an instance, but I do the crime chasing, and it was one day I did a crime scene on I believe it was on like 76 and something, like West, and it was a guy that he had robbed somebody, and he ran inside of a home daycare. Just so happened, the gentleman was looking at my live, and he found out that his daughter attends this particular daycare. So it alerted him, and he went right over there, and it was just messed up. So my thing is, we need to know what's going on in our community, and I think just keep safe. And crime is like number one right now. When I talked to you earlier, when we spoke. Form, earlier I said, Brandon, I don't want to know nothing. The only thing I want to know, I'm concerned about right now is crime. What are you going to do about crime? And so I would like for, include me, I'm a media, I would like for that to be rolled back in real time so we'll know. You have mass shootings going on now. We need to know what's going on next door. A lot of things we need to know. We just need to know, my opinion. Go ahead.
Absolutely right. There should not be a delay. And yes, we need to know in real time. And, unfortunately, this decision is really consistent with the mayor's failure to be transparent. And, the mayor oftentimes speaks about, having all hands on deck, but she is unilaterally using her power to do the very opposite. And, as Cook County Commissioner, I've invested millions of dollars into violence prevention, and many violence prevention groups, are turned into these incidents before they happen. They are actually able to prevent in many cases. But this is a tool, really for media as well as community prevention. Ultimately. So I don't necessarily act as if I have all of the solutions and all of the answers. But one thing that I do certain that I'm going to trust my neighbors. I'm going to trust the people on the block who have a vested interest in our communities. As you know, I'm raising my family in Austin, on the west side of Chicago, one of the more violent neighborhoods in the entire city. And the more hands on deck that we have to deal with this very serious problem and issue that we are all experiencing in the city of Chicago, the better.
Okay, great. I have another question for you too. This is like my second question. No callers, people. No, I'm not accepting any calls. Um, what are you going to do about bridging the gap between the black community and the police, because I'm concerned about that too, because it's like every time a police shooting occurs, it's like it widens the gap, you know. What are some of your plans that
Yeah.
you want to implement that?
Yeah, this is, really unfortunate that in the city of Chicago that the continuation of, again, failed policies of old that
Mm-hmm.
that have left our community in real despair, right?
Right.
I mean, you have, known white supremacists that are serving, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
on, in the police department, right? So
Right.
one of the first things that we have to do is make sure, that the city of Chicago is not complicit in the perpetuation of white supremacy being, carried out through our various institutions. And so this is really about accountability, right? And so, I've always, have been, quite perplexed to some extent of the dynamics that exist within, Black communities. So, like, this, we call police more than anyone else in the city,
Right.
and we hate when they show up. You know what I'm saying? And that has a lot to do with just the trust factor, that there's been a real breakdown that's been eroded. And it's been exacerbated because we haven't held law enforcement accountable. And, as mayor of the city of Chicago, individuals that are known to not serve with honor and integrity, that they will be dealt with. And that's really what it boils down to, like having real leadership, and that includes our sergeants that will hold, their particular crew accountable. So for those who may not be familiar with me, I've been a public school teacher in the city of Chicago. I taught middle school and I taught high school. Most of my career was in middle school, and I can tell you, leadership makes a difference, right? This doesn't mean that you have to be what's the word, that you have to be overbearing and to micromanage. But a lot of the behavior that we're seeing by rank and file police officers, I mean, you can attribute that to the lack of that's offered through their immediate supervisors. And so a lot of this, I believe, has to do with the mayor's office not setting a real standard for the type of supervision that's needed.
Mm-hmm.
The situation even in Memphis, not to distance ourselves because
Right.
we have our issues right here in Chicago. But you have law enforcement, these rank and file members that are wilding out. You can attribute that to people who are not well supervised, right? And so that's the accountability that I'm talking about. If people are asking for specifics, of course we're going to monitor and make sure that we don't have individuals serving on the police in the police department that are known white supremacists. But
Right.
also, it really comes down to making sure that we have proper supervision, and that is what I'm committed to as I prepare to become the next mayor of the city of Chicago.
Okay. I have another question. And what's your thoughts on this now? I'm kind of like both ways. So my thoughts on the no chase policy. And I understand why the mayor said that, but I think that policy should be case by case, no chase policy. In other words, give you an example. Um, you're from Austin, you live in Austin. I'm Inglewood. Now,
Yes.
we know we might see a stolen car. An officer might see a stolen car. I mean, just a stolen car. I haven't shot nobody down the street, but it's a stolen Kia, we'll just say. And the kid takes off, doing 75 miles per hour down a 60, 35-mile per hour street. So I agree with her. We should allow that car, we got the helicopter, allow the car, just let it go. Just let it go. Now, in some instance, now, if this car just shot 3 or 4 people on 63rd and Halsted, now I don't know about no chase on that, but we want to keep the community safe, because what's happening, Brandon, by me studying crime for the last 5 years, I've noticed with these police chases is always end up in tragic with citizens just going about their everyday normal life, and they get it, and it's like, man, and the perpetrators, it's like they either get away or small injuries or something like that. So what do you think you probably would do about that?
Yeah, well, look, what you just said is very powerful. We want to avoid tragedy,
Right.
And what we've seen, though, unfortunately, is that we have not positioned law enforcement in a smart way. We just haven't. So as you talk about, these particular incidents, we know that over 40% of the violence that happens in the city of Chicago, it happens in 6% of the city. So of course, you just mentioned two of the neighborhoods, right? Inglewood, Austin, right?
Right.
And so what law enforcement needs to recognize is that, of course, there are elements within the city of Chicago that unfortunately, place everyone in danger or potentially in danger. I remember a situation. I won't go into all of the details, where there was a chase, and the two different vehicles for law enforcement were not communicating properly with one another. And in the midst of it, there was gunfire that came from one of the police vehicles. The other police vehicle did not know if that was law enforcement or the car that they were chasing.
I think I know that case.
Unfortunately, the other, you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, the other car ended up shooting back into the vehicle. It just left a lot of chaos, right? And there was a major lawsuit that the city of Chicago had to, or the taxpayers essentially had to put to bill to that. And what I'm ultimately getting at is that, of course, there are scenarios in which, we have to be strategic about how we pursue, violence when it is in motion. My personal position is that as a city, because of the lack of uniformity, the lack of strategic policing, it has left quite a very chaotic, disruptive form of engagement. And so that's why I'm not trying to avoid answering the question. Right. What I'm saying, though, is that when you look at the amount of money that we have paid out,
that goes
settlement.
That goes
because individuals have been really irresponsible in terms of how they have, law enforcement in particular, of how it has addressed the violence in the city. My position is much like what you said at the very end of your question: avoiding tragedy, having the right law enforcement in position in place to be able to make those decisions on spot. That's the type of leadership, as I've talked about before, with sergeants in particular, to be able to provide that type of guidance, because anything less than that, it's going to be very difficult to avoid the type of tragedy and loss that we continue to experience.
Okay, now hold it right there, Brother Brandon. That takes you to my next question. Now, I'm asking you, would you consider this? Police having their own liability insurance, where it won't cost the city a lot of these bad mistakes that these officers are making. Would you consider looking into it? I'm just asking a question. They're carrying their own liability insurance. So when we have like a wrongful police shooting or unjustified shooting, it won't hit the city so hard, man. $8 million, $10 million, $5 million. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, you know what? Look, whether it's qualified immunity, that one is pretty straightforward. That one, makes sense, right? Because individuals who get, certain protection because they are clocked in, that should not excuse you from like behaving inhumanely, right? I think in the case of having their own insurance, I think that's something that's worth examining. I'll be very, very direct with you, as I've always said. I'm always going to be honest with people. This is not something that I have researched. And so, because you're asking it, I think in a very fair way, would I make, some examination of it? I'm happy to do whatever works. And so, for me, because of the type of style of leadership that I'm ultimately accountable to, because my style of leadership is to be compassionate, to be collaborative, and to be competent. And so if individuals, bring an idea to the table like the one that you have raised, I believe it's worth discussing. I don't believe in shutting people down. I do believe in, the democratic process, right? So that's what I can make a commitment to that and to all ideas, right, that people bring, because we're going to need all hands on deck. And what I can say is that my administration is committed to doing whatever works to keep, us safer.
Okay. I have another question for you. We're almost done here. If you happen to be mayor, and we'll just say the president, superintendent resigns, or you get rid of him, whatever, you don't have to answer that. And would you consider hiring some officers that work right here in Chicago and on the force, or you'll look out other places? I'm thinking, I notice a lot of former mayors, most of them hire people that's not from Chicago. So I'm asking you, as if you become mayor, and if it come down to it, if you have to hire another police superintendent, I'm not firing Brown, I'm sorry. Would you consider on looking within?
Of course, I'm going to prioritize Chicago, right? We will look internally, of course. I believe that's the best approach for all of our city dynamics and services, and I want the best that's available, right? So, if in pursuit of us finding, someone here locally that they don't meet the standard that I just set for myself, and again, that's being, compassionate, collaborative, and competent. That's the standard of leadership that I'm going to look for in all of my departments. And if we don't find that locally, then we're going to do whatever it takes to get the right person in the position to put us in to put the department onto a pathway of being more responsible and accountable to the residents of the city of Chicago. So, of course, I'm always going to look out for our people here, and that's my preference, is to have someone who understands the local dynamics and who's willing to work with the different community organizations, those violence interrupters, the youth hiring program that I'm going to expand and double as mayor of the city of Chicago.
That's where I was going to go. You answered my question. Now, I was just going to go there. Go ahead. Go continue to talk. Go ahead.
No, that's it. Look, our young people under my administration will be seen and valued. You see a lot of this. And this is not making excuses for our people, but I have a 10-year-old, and I have three. I have an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 15-year-old. Some of these young people who are being accused of the violence in the city of Chicago, I believe it's more of a reflection of our society than it is the individual. But I have a 10-year-old, he don't know what a dirty clothes basket is most days, right? I got to remind him to put his shirt on the right way. And when you have a society where you have someone 10, 11, 12 years old, carrying out these, or allegedly in some cases, but in some cases we are aware they're carrying out these different acts, that means that there's a real distance between the value we should be demonstrating in young people and the hopelessness that they're experiencing. Now, all of us can probably relate to moments in our childhood where we didn't feel good about ourselves, and we all did not take a path of crime. And we have to make sure that we're closing the gap between value and hopelessness. And that's why I'm committed to doubling the amount of young people that we're going to hire in the city of Chicago. And as a former teacher, I'm going to see young people, because I've looked into their eyes, man, of young people who feel that type of despair, and they don't feel like they are worth anything. And, young people in general will take greater risk, and they do risky things to themselves, their bodies. We know that that's part of adolescent development. And you couple that with trauma and isolation and poverty. Again, I know people might think that this is an excuse, but if you ain't lived in a situation where you literally do not know when your next meal is coming from, where your parent is traumatized, might be addicted, or they're unhoused, they're underemployed or unemployed. These are very gruesome circumstances in which people in the city of Chicago are being forced to live in. And, brother, this is one of the richest cities in one of the richest countries at the richest time in the history of the world. No one should be too poor to live in a city.
Okay. I think I got another question. Then I might take one question from the audience. It's almost time, but about another 9 minutes. Maybe this is. I don't know if this is familiar with you. You know, most police officers, and I want to say I'm not anti-police. I call the police, but I know that there's a wide gap between the black community and the Chicago Police Department, and I notice the gap is getting wider and wider and wider, and we have to bring it together because that's the only way we're going to solve a lot of these crimes and things like that. So, my question is to for those officers that would just say I don't call it police brutality, I call it police misconduct. If they shoot someone, which I know it's a process you had to go through, if they shoot somebody, I would like for their certification to be taken to where they can never work in law enforcement again, especially here in the state of Illinois. You know, I want to make sure of that because, see, just as much if a criminal, if a citizen commit a crime, he's held to the full extent of the law. And I want the same accountability with the officers. Um, that's it. I'm not anti-police or anything like that. And I believe in working with the police. I do call the police. You'll never hear me saying F12 as the young folks say that. But when the police is wrong, I believe in getting on them, holding them accountable. And so it is with the citizens. You know, I'm not out here taking up for drug dealers. I'm not out here taking for people that's doing drive-bys, shooting babies, killing women innocently. You know, because our seniors are real. They're concerned. They're afraid to come out at night, and they want to feel safe. And you know, I know there's no one solution. One person can do it all by themselves to help reduce crime. Remember, we talked about that. Now, you know, reduce crime. And I appreciate you for coming on. But I want to ask this the question I'm getting to. I'm just dancing around it. What plan are you going to implement for the seniors? The seniors, it seems like I hear everybody talk about different things, and the seniors, they don't feel safe, especially the ones that probably in your community, in my community, in Inglewood, they don't feel safe. We have to do something about it, our seniors. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. My wife and I live on a block. When we purchased our home, I don't know, I guess almost 15 years ago, we might have been the youngest couple on the block, but one of them. Most of the folks on the block were just elderly seniors who've been over here for 40 plus years. You know how Chicago is. You know, you have the Jacksons, the Smiths, the other Jacksons. I think one of the Jacksons' daughters bought a house, right? And so, it was always, concerning for us because of the corner that we are on. Like we are literally in the middle of the territorial line that divides different gangs. And so individuals coming off of Chicago Avenue can tell you multiple occasions, in which gunshots down our alley. I mentioned this to you when we saw each other in person. A bullet that have come through our home, through our children's window that we just recently changed over the last few months. And this is something that we deal with every single day. And I think about, the seniors. And so when you mention the seniors, one of the things that I believe that we have to do is, one, make sure that we're investing in young people. So let's start there. I've already articulated that. Making sure that we are responding to the impact of the isolation that poverty invokes, right? And so that means that we are opening our mental health centers, reopening them rather, passing treatment, not trauma, so that you have mental health providers that show up on the front line to deal with the 911 calls that are overwhelmingly made up of mental health crises. And so on the west side, we will never forget, Quantonio and his neighbor Betty, who came to his defense, and the only equipment on the scene were guns, and they're both dead. So when I think about all of that, this is a package that for our seniors, building more affordable housing units for our seniors, a big deal. Creating, safe spaces within our communities, especially where there's abandonment and vacancy. I've seen this on the west side where urban farms are developing and transforming neighborhoods, and the seniors and the young people are coming together to keep up the community. There's pride in that. We have that in Garfield Park. Really, it's like a 2-block square where the Cook County government has also invested and supported this urban park, and it's really eliminated violence on these couple of blocks. And so I've seen what those investments look like when seniors can come outside with young people and younger families in the vacancy that we now control and own. And that cuts out, the type of melee and havoc that exists because of the abandonment and the depression that exists in those particular blocks. Ultimately, what I'm getting at is that we are our best asset. And the solution is that the government, this is what my plans are, is to invest in those communities that have been disinvested in. That we turn over these spaces, whether they are vacant homes or abandoned homes, vacant homes, or vacant lots, and that we build on them. And I talked to Pastor Moss about this, Reverend Moss, where he is seeing some incredible transformation in spaces on the South Side, where community gardens, or I should say urban farms, a part of the infrastructure of transport community. These are the type of things that I believe that we have to do if we're going to make sure that our seniors feel good coming outside again.
Okay. I have one more last question. I know you got busy schedule. Now, Early Walker, which is a businessman, he do a lot of great husband, Early and Tia show. And he was he's working on a law. This don't have anything to do with what you're doing. He's working on a law where it's called the Early Walker Armed Security Protection Act. It's just something he's going to introduce. I believe that is going to state rep. He wants every gas station, every store, bank to have an armed guard. And the reason why he said that is because a lot of women, older women, are afraid to go in some of these stores and some of these gas stations to pump gas because of the activity that's around it. You're from out west and I'm from out south, and we see it. Now, we're not talking about government money, but we want the businesses to have an armed guard, because a lot of these gas stations are selling our youth tobacco products, underage youth tobacco products. And it's a lot of activity going on in some of these gas stations. We see it. And I think that would probably bring more businesses to those businesses, and it would free up some of the officers from some of those calls at them gas stations and things like that. That's just a thought that we're trying to work on. Something that's just something I'm throwing at you real quick. So if you want to comment on that real quick.
Yeah, you've been throwing a lot at me tonight. I appreciate you.
Yeah, but
look, here's what I would get at.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I appreciate this because look, I believe we are our greatest asset, and this is what I appreciate. Like this is the black table where we get to discuss it, right? And other people get to participate and hear it.
Right.
I mentioned this earlier. We all know that over 40% of the violence that happens in the city, it happens in 6% of the city. That's why my public safety plan, I lean into how we need to promote within our rank and file 200 more detectives. We can do that. The detective test is not even offered on a regular basis. So if you don't do well the first time, you may not catch it for another year, if not longer. So a more regularly scheduled test that gives applicants, particularly within our community, the ability to get promoted. And I'm going to do that. It also means that we have to spend to expedite the completion, or at least moving towards the completion of the consent decree.
Yes.
Some of the dynamics that you're speaking, I mean, look, it takes 18 months to become a police officer.
Yes.
To be a private security guard that's armed, again, this could take it could take a while, right? And to what end, right? I mean, to what end? And this is why I'm saying that if you look at safe American cities, and I represent a number of them on the county board. Take Oak Park, for instance. They have 2 school districts that are fully funded, 3 public libraries that open to 9 o'clock, park and recreation, blue line, green line. They have their own public health system, right? I mean, these are dynamics that exist within safe communities in America. The city of Chicago can be a safer city. if you have the right leadership. And there are many folks that are putting forth solutions that are just dishonest. When they talk about hiring 1,000 more cops or 600 more cops, you're not doing that.
Right.
Brother, you can't find 1,000 more people to do anything. You know what I'm saying? 1,000 more
Agreed.
teachers, nurses. You found 1,000 of them. Again, I'm halfway through my first term before the first officer shows up. We need public safety today. And that's why my plan gets at not just the root causes, but we immediately begin to enact policies and make decisions that have immediate, benefit to our work. So, I hope that answers your question.
That's
and I
good.
appreciate
Thank you so much. I just wanted to throw that at you, Brandon. It really wasn't a question, but it's something that I know early is working on it, and I thought it would be a good idea. It would free up a lot of calls from the Chicago police officers and things like that, because when we have another set of eyes, it helps the law enforcement. We try to get a curve on this crime. We're not going to arrest everybody. We're not going to lock everybody up. We're not going to arrest everybody out of crime. It's not going to happen. But I appreciate your little small time spending with me. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I told you we wanted to talk about crime, and that's what we did. We talked about crime, and I appreciate you.
You did. I really decided to the opportunity to speak to you and to your audience. Right. It means a lot. And just know that I'm global. This doesn't have to end. If I'm graced with the opportunity to serve this city, I would love to be able to come back and just, have this type of dialogue, to bring a better, stronger, safer Chicago into fruition. I'm committed to that.
And we appreciate you, man. Keep up the good work. Commissioner Brandon Johnson, keep the good work up. But thank you, brother. Happy Black History Month. And, I wish you success in your journey. Yes. I tell you, I met you.
Right, thank you, brother.
I didn't know anything about you, but I met you. I liked the conversation. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to stay live and take some questions. Now you can go ahead. Thank you so much, brother Brandon. Thank you so much. All right. All right, people, y'all welcome to call in. I just wanted that time. I appreciate Brandon calling in, sharing his ideas with us. And I asked some good questions. They weren't super hard, but I promised him that I was going to keep it on crime, and that's what I wanted to talk about. That was my biggest concern. So the lines are open. They're definitely open, people. You can call me 872-299-0808. 872-299-0808. While we're on the subject of crime, because we know we have problems. We have problems, people. And I want to thank Brandon Johnson for coming on my platform, speaking to my people, because I do have a platform, and hey, it is what it is. Appreciate him for coming on here. And I'm waiting on some calls to come in, so tell me what you think. Waiting some calls. Call on in. 872-297-6389. Again, 872-297-6389. And again, this platform is open up for any mayoral candidate. If you want to come on this platform and speak to my people, you are welcome. We do not discriminate. We want to hear from you. And as I say, I don't endorse any candidate, but I let you decide on who you want to vote for. Your vote is private. But I thought I'll allow him to come on here and speak. And talk to us. I got callers coming in. They calling in now. Man, they calling in. All right, I'm going to go with this call. 3470. Go ahead. 3470. Go ahead, money. Go ahead. I know who that is. Jay, go ahead. Caller, you're live, uncut, unedited. 3470. 3470. I'm sorry. Caller, you're live, uncut, unedited. Hey, caller.
Hey, how you doing?
All right, good. Come on with it.
All right. I believe the way we can actually curb some of the crime, we actually have violent prevention, or we call it interrupters, or whatever they are. A lot of those guys and a lot of those programs are getting the money and not using the money the way it should be used. They show up after the effect of whatever happens. I believe they should be assigned to an area. We have parks, we have schools. Instead of us using the safe passage money, there's no reason why they should be out there patrolling those areas around the schools and the parks.
In other words, like a
And
safe, like a
if they're
safe
assigned
passage,
to an area,
like a safe passage, right?
correct. They're getting the money. You know what I mean? How many times you see them throughout the summer? Some of these organizations. And when you do see them, it's after someone got shot. You don't even, otherwise you don't see them at all. So I believe what they should do. I have no problem with giving the organizations money. Start holding them accountable. You put them in an area. If the crime go up, guess what? You're not doing your job. You're not. Because that's your job to do prevention. You're doing violent prevention. And if you can't do the job, guess what? You don't get a grant next year. Cut the grant off.
I agree.
Hold everybody accountable. Put them in a neighborhood. You can't go wrong that way. Because no one is overseeing the violent prevention money. They're just giving away money. And you know what? And the bleeding needs to stop.
I agree. It needs to stop.
That's
okay.
Yeah. So
thank you.
I guess that's all I really had to say.
Okay.
But,
thank you, sir. I'm gonna go to the next one. All right.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem. 6112. Caller, you're live, uncut, unedited. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, I guess that's me. I'm calling in because we need to put the prosecutors back in each police station. They took them away long ago. And that way, if they put the prosecutors in the police stations where they need to be, the officers would know what they need to make the case stick. That's why so many cases, when they come before the judge, don't stick because the officers are not given enough to make the case stick. And if the prosecutors were in the police stations where they should be, where it used to be, then more people would be in jail. And also, they need to change the lights. They changed them to these lights that only light up with the sun. Too many streets in Chicago are dark. And you can't even walk down the street because you're scared because the streets are so dark, anybody can jump on you. And that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Thanks, Martin.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, 2841, did you want to say something? 2841. Hello? 28.
That was me, 2841.
Oh, that was you. Okay. All right. Oh, that was you. Okay. I have 6112. 6112. Hey, caller.
Hey.
How you doing?
Hey, Brother Johnson. It's real.
All right, now, Reb, don't give us a sermon. We know you're long-winded. Come on with it, man. Bring it on home. Come on. You got the text. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that first thing, what you're doing in opening up a platform for not only us regular people, but even for these candidates. I think every candidate should try to come on your platform and explain themselves. But I see a difference in Brother Johnson from the first time that I actually heard him running. You could tell that these candidates are listening. Some of them are listening, not to their own agenda, but to people that are around them, people that they meet with day by day, and it's implementing promises to their campaign they probably didn't have. It's kind of scratchy, but we got to vote. So hopefully we can get the best person. I haven't myself decided. I'm not going with the famous ones, but I haven't decided who it is. And it's kind of hard. Like I say, you got more people that's undecided than it is people that actually do know. So I just think that we just got to be prayed up. And I tell people, even on my live all the time, be very smart. Care about your community and your city for real. Care about those that's around you. And let's all come together with a common goal to make sure that the people or whoever's going to go into office, they're going to be for the ones that's really needed. And that's in our cities, the west side and the south side. And Brother Johnson, he lives in Austin. Austin is nothing different than Inglewood. It's just on the west side. So hopefully, and we could just thank him already. Him opening up the door to come on your platform and speak to you and speak to the people shows that, hey, he do have some concern. Ain't nobody no big to the point where they can't come and explain themselves. So I can appreciate that. You got some points on me.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you can hold if you want to. Hey, caller, I got an out-of-town caller, 915. Hey, caller, where you calling from?
Hey, I'm calling from Georgia, Martin. I grew up.
Man, how many numbers you got, man? How many numbers you got? Go ahead. What's up, what up, Captain? No. Sarge? Okay, go ahead. So,
what's going on, Martin?
What's your thoughts, man? Talk to me.
Man, look, when we was shorties out there growing up out west, man, we used to have a lot. You want to talk about crime, we got to invest in our people.
Okay.
Bring back these youth organizations we used to have back in the day. Another good idea would be to bring back the beat cops and have them walking around these communities and build up these community relationships with people. And they be the first ones there when something going on. They, just kind of saturate the area for a little while and see what happens. Is my thought.
Hold that thought for 1 second. Let me make an announcement real quick. The Board of Elections is seeking election judges. You must be 18 and over and a registered voter, must go to training, pays $230. Call Linda, area code 312-269-7992. I'm going to repeat it. Board of Elections are seeking election judges. You must be 18 and over and a registered voter. You must go to training, and it pays $230. Call Linda, 312-269-7992. I promised my friend I was going to make that announcement. So if you need some extra money, there you go. Some extra money. So my point of was bringing Brandon Johnson on here, or any mayoral candidate that's willing to come on here, is to express themselves. I'm not endorsing them as being, I'm not endorsing no candidate. I'm concerned about crime. And the one who convinced me about crime, that's the one that's going to get my vote. That's what I'm concerned about in the city, crime. That's what I'm concerned about. And, I threw him a couple of questions. I made a couple of statements, but hold on, guys. I got a caller, 1925. 1925, you're live, uncut, unedited. Caller?
Hey,
how you doing?
God bless you.
God bless you.
Martin, this Bishop Thomas.
What's up, Bishop? Man of God. All right, Bishop, how you doing? Man. Yeah. See, I stuck. Man, hold on, man of God. I stuck to my word. I did text you, didn't I? And let you know that he was coming on.
You sure did.
Okay.
You sure did.
Okay.
I sure did. Okay. Let me call you. Let me call you up. And I was listening to the brother just a minute ago. It just off the speakerphone. I was listening to the brother just a minute ago, and he's talking about the beat cops.
Right.
This is what's got to happen, Martin. My son was killed 6 years ago in Chicago.
I remember that.
And at the end of the day, the streets don't talk. At the end of the day, we have to do something. And as I listened to the man just a minute ago talking about the beat cop, those cops back then was called officer friendly. You get officer friendly in every district. You get officer friendly to walk the neighborhoods. You get officer friendly to do things. I also heard the bring something back. And my ideal to support a mayor, a candidate that would sit down and listen to some of the things that the people have to say. Listen to some of the things that the community have to say, and try to do the best thing to bring back a Washburn. Washburn is a trade. You can't take a trade away. Let our young men and women learn a trade. They learn that trade You know, my sons, they work and they got their own business. They never work for nobody but me. You know, because I taught them a trade. You bring back Washburn, bring back trade, carpenter, electrician, plumbing. Pastor Kevin Ford has a awesome program going on now at St. Paul Church of God in Christ, where the late Bishop Lewis Henry Ford was my pastor. He has something now that he's training men, and he's connected with the companies that will get them jobs right when they get through with those programs. And if they don't have a GED, the IED, they even got it where they can get them set to get your GED, so you can have that the training that you need to go out there and be productive in this society. We have to bring something to the neighborhood to help our young men, because the dope game is over with, Doc.
It's over with.
Everybody, it's legal now.
Yeah.
It's legal now.
Yes.
It's no structure, you know. So at the end of the day, we have to do something in our community. Leaders got to step up. Pastors got to step up.
Yes.
I know pastors, and I know a lot of people, and I listen to Mr. Brandon talk, and I'm gonna probably get with him and sit down and talk with him, because it's a platform that I'm not gonna share with nobody, but I listen to that man there, and I might share this platform with him. That would be very, very workable. And that's what's got to happen, man. We got to get our community back. After Wall, listen to me very carefully. After Wall, you can walk in your big stores now. You don't see but a few tellers, because they bring in all these computers in. You'll be able to go in the store and come out the store, because they're going to have your information, your bank account. They're going to know. You ain't have to even go to the counters anymore. Robots going to be working, and robots going to be making cars like they're already doing. So if we don't get a plan, bring back Officer Friendly, bring back the trade school, work our community, somebody move out of our house, we ought to be able to organize and buy that house. So we'll know who's getting ready to come back into that community. They do it every other places. So why can't it work in Chicago? Why can't it work in Chicago? They got a section in Beverly. They move out of them houses in Beverly. They organize over there. They buy those homes, and then they know who's coming in there. You know. So at the end of the day, it'll work. Martin, you're doing an awesome job, and I just thought I had to weigh in on this here, because you know it's a good thing, man, to have the candidates come on and give them, let them share their ideas of what they, you know, it's possibility what they can bring to the table, and then you can hold them accountable. I didn't hear no promises, because that's not a good thing to do, make promises.
Right.
But give them ideas what we can possibly do to help save our children's children. Because if we don't start planting our own food, if we don't start doing things right now, man, it's getting bad. It's getting bad out here.
It's getting bad.
But the Bible, when we look at the Word
Bishop,
of God, man. Hey, Doc.
Hold on, Bishop. I got another caller. Bishop giving us a sermon.
No, look here. Look, I'm gonna listen to you, Doc.
Okay.
I'm gonna listen to you.
All right.
Take your call, man.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Hey, God bless you.
God
Mark.
bless you, brother.
Awesome job, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Peace.
Hey, caller. 0291. You got to turn your phone down, caller. 0291. Caller, turn your phone down. Caller.
I think that's a bishop.
Girl, you got
Miss Mother Diva.
Mama Diva, you can't have your phone playing. You know better. Come on, Mama Diva. Come on, Mama Diva. Talk to us. You can't have.
What did I do to the phone? I had it on mute.
No. We can still hear you. We can hear your thing about it, but you're good now. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mama Diva. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the reason I'm calling in, Martin, is because thank you for letting everybody know about the Board of Elections that's looking for judges. But we're talking about an election, and you had this candidate on tonight because you wanted to give him the opportunity and a platform to let the community know what his initiatives are. He's a commissioner. A lot of us don't even know what the commissioners do. We don't look up these definitions. I am calling in tonight to let people know to let the community know, if you are going to vote on election day, make sure you know what your precinct number is. Make sure you're going to the right place to vote. And we also need to talk about election reform, because in the last election, there were 30 locations that did not receive the judge's ballot. In the November election, we had 2 ballots, one for all the other candidates and one for the judges. Now, we just got to have a conversation about the police and the crime, because, and after the crime, we go to court and we vote these judges in. Now, what they should have done, if 30 precincts did not receive that ballot, they should have had another election for those judges. And I want all your listeners that's planning to vote to make sure that you hold the Board of Elections accountable if you see or hear anything that is against the rules, that is against election policy, because this is why people don't want to vote now. There's too much going on in Cook County with these elections. And to also let your listeners and callers know that every month the Board of Elections has meetings that are open to the public, and the public can go and voice how they feel, because they need us. We're the ones that come out and cast our vote. They need us. So I just wanted to let people know, make sure that you are an educated voter. Read your voter's registration card. The commissioners are very important. They oversee what goes on in the county. They approve budgets. They make sure the county is running as it's supposed to go. So always get friendly with your commissioners. A lot of us don't even understand or know, okay, I won't cuss tonight. Somebody said no cussing for Baba Deepa. Okay. A lot of us don't understand or are not educated on what's happening in the election process. Get to know your commissioners. Get to know your aldermen. Get to know your state rep. My state rep just reached back out to me about me writing a bill. I want your audience to know you all are more than welcome to write laws and ordinances and give them to your legislators. They can become law. It takes a village to raise the children. It takes a village to come together in unity to make our communities safe and better. That's all I wanted to say, Mark.
Thank you, Mama Diva. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Wonderful. Right. Listen, people, we have to get involved. We have to get involved. We have to go to local CAPS meetings, and we have to get involved. We complain. And I tell people when they come on here complaining, but if you don't participate in the voting process, you don't have no right to complain. So what people say, well, voting don't work. Well, if it didn't work, well, why do white people coming in our community asking us to vote for them? They asking us for our vote. They're asking us.
2841.
They're asking us to vote for okay, I must have got another call. Hold on, people. And they're asking us for our vote. People, we just have to, like I did tonight, I asked Brandon Johnson some quick questions, like 5 or 6. I made a couple of statements. These things are dear to me. You know, I need to know so I could decide whom I'm going to vote for, you know? And I wasn't trying to put them on the spot or make them look bad or make them, no, it wasn't about that. I want to get something for my vote. I don't want to give it up first. Then hopefully he do something for me. A prostitute no better than that. A prostitute got her hand out. Give me my money first. You know, come on. This is real, people. This is definitely real. All right, let me let me go back to my Sarge. Come on, Sarge. What you got to talk? I know you got something by now. Come on, Sarge.
No, yeah. So all I'm saying is that we just got to get together as a people,
right?
And you got to go to these. We got to go to these guys that's running for these, that's campaigning, and you got to sit them down and say, look, y'all got to show up at these forums, and y'all got to say, look, these are our demands. You want our vote? This is what we need to see in the community. If we can't see this in the community, then we can't vote for you. Plain, simple, right. Plain, upfront, point blank.
And let me say this. I know you vote.
Got to organize it.
Sarge, I know you vote Republican, but let me just say this. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat.
No, I don't vote Republican.
Okay.
No.
You got to get something for your vote. You got to get something for your vote. I mean, this go for Democrats and Republicans. We have to get something for our vote. We have to, people. Do you think these corporations invest tens and thousands of dollars in these candidates and they're not looking for a return? They're looking for a return. They're not just putting money in these candidates' hand and just say, hey, good luck and go do what you have to do. No, these corporations, when they invest in these candidates, they looking for something in return. They're looking for a favor. And I always say, I've learned, candidates cater to two types of groups. They favor to the group that they most fear, and they favor to the ones that's bankrolling them. Only two.
That money. Yep.
Only two.
Yep.
That's it. That's only two.
Yep.
That's it. Come on, 2841.
2841.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that, we as a people, we're just tired of being tired. I vote with every election, judges election, all the elections. But once they get in, the money makes people greedy.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you said, they have people that they made promises to, that's donated money, large amounts of money to their campaign. And the little people like us, they listen to us right now because it's election time. But once you cast your vote, they don't even know your name. Actually, when you leave them from talking to them, they don't even know your name anymore.
True.
So it's all a big front, and it's just heartbreaking because he sounds good, but give him a year into if he gets to be our mayor. Give him a year and a half into it. He's got to pay back, all these people that's donated, and he's going to look the other way at us. All these things sound good, but they won't come to fruition. Right. Because he got to take care of the big people first, the money people, just like you said.
Right.
It's all politics.
And you know what?
And that's how it is in the state of Illinois.
It is. But that's why we should play the game too. Look at the Asian community. They buying politics. The Asians, the Arabs, they buy politicians. We just have to, I think as Black people, we have to build a base, a pack where we can drop 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 on a politician, and hey, we need this done. We need this because that's the only people they catering to. They catering to the big interests and people dropping that money, and the one we know who they fear. So we know who that is. So we know it. We know, but that's another story, another subject. But we got to buy. If Black people, if we got to put our money where our mouth is, that's what we got to do. I'm telling you. That's what we have to do. We have to buy the politicians. They are for sale. They're going to cater to the ones that give them the most money. Look at this brother, Brandon Johnson. The union, the teachers union is supporting him. So when he get in, he's going to cater things.
They're going to get a raise.
Right. Whatever. It might be something else, but whatever. He is going to cater him because they are bankrolling him. And that's not a crime. That's not a crime. That's not a crime. When you support somebody that supported you, yes, that'd be on a priority list.
Yes, sir.
So that's not a crime for him to do that, or any other candidate in this race. It's not a crime. So that's all I'm saying, people. We got to get it together. We got to play this politics game. We can't just stand and keep our arms folded. We always get done wrong, and we got to do more than just talking. We got to start walking. We got to put our money where our mouths is. We got to stop smoking blunt for a day. That's $10. If you got 10,000 people can throw in $10 into a pack, and we can buy us a politician. Seriously. That's
right.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, brothers. It's no disrespect. I'm not trying, but that's what it's going to take. It's what it's going to take. And like you said,
take a coalition.
Yeah, a coalition. Yeah. Why you think the Rainbow Push? They get things done. Y'all can say whatever y'all want about Jesse Jackson, his son, but they get things done. Trust me. And people, politicians, they cater to Operation Push. Like it, love it, or don't like it. They do it because they got a back and they got a platform. So we got to get involved. We definitely got to get involved. So that ends my show tonight. I just want to thank you guys for coming in and listen to the brother Brandon Johnson. And again, I want to say publicly, I have not endorsed no candidate right now, but I'm listening. I got my ear open, and I'm going to make my choice to the one that best fit my ideas and my thing that I want to see different. So that's where I'm at right now. So people, if you're a politician, you're a candidate, or whatever you are, a mayor, whatever you want to come on here and talk to my people, feel free. I'm here. My number is 872-297-6389. You're more than welcome to come on the platform and talk to the people. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As y'all know, this is live, uncut, unedited.
You already know what it is.
Good night,
live,
guys.
Uncut, unedited.
This is where we tell the truth.
Tell the truth and shame the devil.
Peace out.